Hailing frequencies open, whether Ensign Kayla is ready or not. Welcome to Trek Retrek here on Geek the F Out. I'm Captain Johnny.
I'm Ensign Kayla.
And we are here today
I hate you for that. He's
We're
like,
here
ready
today.
or not, we're going.
And I said, doesn't matter, and hit the start button. We're a little loopy. It's been a wild week as we record this. Well, this will come out this Thursday. This Thursday.
Yeah.
So,
it's been
we had quite a week.
Crazy.
It might be a good time to give particularly new people a refresher on exactly what we do here on Trek Retrek.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to do that? Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So we're going episode by episode from the beginning of Star Trek, the original series, doing a kind of rewatch essentially, because Johnny has watched everything Star Trek and I have watched nothing just up to this point of Trek that we're at right now. So if this is the first time you're watching us, welcome. And also, I don't look like a potato most of the time when I'm on here. Of course, the one stream we do that goes viral, I look like a
fascinating
potato. You're gonna have to bleep that out. Yeah, it was very last minute, but thanks everyone who's here now because of that video. If you're watching us for the first time, or if you didn't watch Johnny's Eternia unboxing, go watch it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, very impromptu. So yes, this is Trek Retrek, though. We do this every week. Thursday premieres at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And yeah, talk about each episode of Trek from our two very different perspectives.
And today's episode is Catspaw. Castles, dungeons, witches, black cats, and magic prevail as Kirk seeks a rational explanation of and escape from forces that lured him to an alien planet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds very dramatic.
Yes.
Very apropos, because as we go throughout the episode, I was like, did this come out at Halloween? This probably came out at Halloween. This is the Halloween episode, isn't it?
We'll talk about that in episode trivia.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you haven't watched before, I break down all the scenes and we talk about them as we go. And then we have other parts of the show where we talk about lines and moments. That's what they said. Spoilers without context, episode trivia, and then we rank the episode. So first scene, and my first comment was, oh no, another voice that sounds like all the other out-of-body voices that we've gotten before. But Uhura's only picking up 3 life signs on the planet, no Sulu or Scotty, and, or no, why did I put that first, actually? Jackson beams on board, and he's dead immediately without Sulu or Scotty. And that's when the out-of-body voice comes in and is like, you are cursed. You need to leave immediately. And, so then Kirk, Spock, and Bones beam down. There's lots of fog. They pick up life signs, but the Enterprise isn't picking up those other life signs. And, of course, their communications go down, which take a drink every time the communications go down. And all of a sudden, these 3 ghosts show up and tell them they better leave or else they'll die, which I thought was so silly, but also so different from what we've gotten so far in Trek. And yeah, they were definitely spooky to me. And they knew Kirk's name, which I was like, how do they know Kirk's name? And one of the ghosts sounded like an operatic singer. I don't know if you noticed that, Johnny.
I don't recall.
How they were speaking.
Yeah. So
operatic.
In my head it's mixed up because there's a mission on Star Trek Online, the massively multiplayer online role-playing game. All based around this episode. They run it like it's a limited time mission that they only really run around Halloween. You end up in this castle, and there's those witches like are a big component of it, and they have a couple of sections where they It's very sing-songy.
Are they witches or are they ghosts?
They're ghost witches.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Dan.
sure they're ghost witches. Yeah.
Okay. I'll trust you on that.
I don't even know if they're technically supposed to be ghosts as much as they're just like projections, like because they do have like an ethereal, like transparent quality to them, but I don't know if they're necessarily ghosts.
So are they projections that Sylvia does, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, and so they come up on a spoopy castle, and but that also didn't come up on the ship's sensors either. And they go in and they're greeted by a black cat, which yeah, they make some comments saying trick or treat, and I was like, this is the Halloween episode for sure. And Kirk says Spock would be a natural at trick or treating.
Yeah.
That was so funny. And then we go back on the Enterprise, and DeSalle is in charge, which I said, who dis? Came out of nowhere. New captain, who dis? And also, I don't know if you noticed, but Chekhov's hair is so bad in this episode. I like, did they give him a wig or something? It just looks god awful.
Yeah, it's he was wearing a wig. So he's wearing a wig in this episode.
Do you wear wigs?
It says it was later dispensed with when his hair was long enough.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know,
because next episode it looks normal.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, how short was his hair that they had him wear a wig?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and then he says he's not that green, and I was like, is that a jab at Spock? Or I don't know, because he says it in a way like he's not that stupid and Spock isn't, or
no, green is a very common term for like a rookie, like green as in not ripe. Like you haven't been like Chekhov saying, look, I know what I'm doing, essentially is what he's like, I'm not that much of a newbie.
Got it. That makes more sense. And then all of a sudden the three disappear on the ship's sensors, and around that same time they fall down a hole and they're shackled to the wall, which that escalated very quickly.
Yeah.
And I loved how in this scene Kirk is like, Bones, and then sees the skeleton next to Bones and is like, McCoy. Like he says it and like realizes what he's saying because there's literally Bones next to Bones, and so he says McCoy. I just thought that was funny. And then Scotty and Sulu show up and they're clearly brainwashed, and they release Kirk, Spock, and Bones, and they're taken to Korob on the throne, and they talk about you know, how humans don't like to be restrained, but he knows who Kirk is, which is once again very interesting. And he calls, the cat comes up and he calls his cats my precious, which I was like, oh, okay, Lord of the Rings, got it. And says that he warned them to stay away, but then he's like talking to the cat, so apparently he understands the cat, which reminded me a lot of Salem. But I mean, Salem, you can hear, speaks English, but still, I loved Sabrina growing up. And he takes them to the dining room.
The new Sabrina had a Salem, but he didn't talk in that, though she could understand him, right? Am I remembering correctly? They didn't actually have Salem talk in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah. I watched it. I love that show, but now I'm second guessing if he talked or not. I think he did.
Maybe.
I feel like he did.
I don't remember him actually speaking, but I haven't watched the last season. So maybe he talks in that.
So good. Anyway, so yeah, takes him to the dining room. The crew refuses to eat, so he turns their food into precious gems, and he's like, you can take those and go home if you speak nothing of this place. And Kirk's like, nah, we can make these on the ship. Sorry, this isn't a bribe. Which then Korab is like, "Oh, you've passed the test, because you've come to get your friends." And I'm like, it seems like this dude is just like, like the story keeps changing all the time with him, which, we kind of find out why with Sylvia, but I don't know. He was very like back and forth, like couldn't really get a read on what was going on with him there. Um, Anyways, so then Sylvia shows up and says that they're like mind probing them, which I was like, hee 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 hee. And she has this necklace, which like they really showed Bones looking at this necklace and that shot, which I was just like, okay, I get that we're focusing on the necklace, but it just makes it look like Bones is staring at her boobs.
100%.
Which wouldn't put it past him. And then Kirk
very
grabs
intently,
Scotty's...
like.
Yes. Which, I mean, I'm sure it's the necklace, like, kind of hypnotizing him.
Yeah.
But still, I was like, Bones, come on, bro. So then Kirk grabs Scotty's phaser and gives it to Spock and threatens them. But yeah, she starts to... It looks like she's almost going to hypnotize them with this little starship on a chain. And she says that she thanked Jackson to death, and they're like, how the fuck did you do that, lady? And so Kirk messages the ship, and apparently it's getting really hot in there, so take off all your clothes.
It's getting hot in here. Yep.
Yeah. And so Korab asked about their science, which I thought that was kind of weird, but Sylvia gets mad at him for like giving away too much about their science or their magic science, whatever is going on there. And she then puts a clear block around the toy ship and says like, oh, I've put like a force field around it so no one else can come down from the ship. And tells them to go to their cell, but have the doctor stay. And then back on the ship, DeSalle tries to put a dent in the shield through Chekhov's help. And then once again, Spock and Kirk are back in shackles. They just, really love being tied up. And Spock makes the point that they've only tapped into their subconsciousness, hence all the like spooky... hence all the spookiness that's there that doesn't seem to actually reflect their reality.
Right, the dark corners of the mind.
And they strategize how to get out of there when Bones comes in, and he's been mind controlled as well. And Korab and Sylvia argue over their objective there, and she says she really likes it, doesn't want to leave. And then Kirk comes in, and Sylvia and Kirk talk, and she asks how the power feels, and she likes him, and she wants them to join forces. And of course, they kiss because, gotta check that off the box. Every episode, Kirk is either gonna kiss someone, he's gonna be shirtless, he's gonna fight, or he's gonna give an awkward hug. So... check that off the list. And he fights during this episode.
The four pillars and then she, of Captain Kirk.
Yes. And then she changes her look into different women, saying, I can be whatever you want. And then they start kissing super awkwardly as he's like trying to get information out of her at the same time. And like, oh, it's just so awkward to watch. And clearly, we know what he's doing. And it takes her a while to figure it out, but she finally does. And she says he'll be swept away. And then all of a sudden, Korab frees Kirk and Spock from their shackles, says that she's becoming irrational and that she wants to destroy them all. And that's when I realized she's the cat. Because she turns into this giant cat. Which the effects on that were so funny and reminded me a lot of like when people turn Jurassic Park dinosaurs into cats and stuff like that. Like, have you seen those? Like Jurassic Park, but cats.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I think I've seen them, yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that. All the giant pussies. And I was like, how did I not realize before? And I forget who makes the says the line, but they say cats are the most ruthless, and I was like, you're not wrong. They
Spock
kind of
does.
are.
I believe it's Spock.
Spock. Okay.
Of all the, I don't know if that's something that's in the quotes on Memory Alpha. I don't think so.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm pretty
So
sure
then,
it's Spock. Like of
okay.
all the land-based predators or something like that, cats are the most ruthless. Yeah.
Yeah, not wrong. So then Korab, Kirk, and Spock hide behind a door, and she breaks it down and falls on Korab, R.I.P. Korab. And Spock pulls Kirk out of the hole, and they fight Bones, Sulu, and Scotty, and they knock them out. And then Kirk threatens Sylvia with the transmuter wand, which then she turns back into a human and teleports them into the dining room without Spock. And she says, it's not the source of her power, it's to direct her power, essentially. And she's like, I am all women. And I'm like, sure, Jan, sure. And then threatens him with the phaser that she pulls out of nowhere. And all of a sudden there's a flash, and Kirk is what I thought was originally outside of the castle on rocks, but apparently everything disappeared. So I guess he did that. He like made everything disappear, and now he has a phaser and not the transmuter anymore. It was a very quick solution to the episode.
Oh, he broke the wand. He shattered the wand.
Oh, he did?
The
Is that what
transmuter
he
wand.
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
okay.
broke the wand,
I
which
just saw bright
undid the.
light.
Yeah, that was him
Got it.
shattering the transmuter wand, and that
I must have.
unraveled the illusion.
Okay, I must have looked away at that exact second. Then that makes a lot more sense. And yeah, and so that turns Korab and Sylvia into these weird little blue and yellow bird-like flag creatures, which I will say, Johnny, spoilers without context, is perfect for it. That is exactly what they reminded me of. And
Yep.
they die, and then they're kind of steaming once they die.
Yeah.
And they all beam back on board, and that's it. Like, such a weird ending. It's a sad ending.
Yep.
I feel like we've had a lot of good kind of neatly tied bows, happy endings, but this was just like, it ended very quickly, it escalated very quickly, and that was it. And it was kind of sad at the end of all things. And
Yeah, and at
that's
the
all
end, like
my notes.
at the end, and McCoy's like, all of this just an illusion, and Kirk's like, no illusion. Jackson is dead. Like, Jackson's dead. He died.
Yeah, he kind of brings them back to reality. Like, that still happened. That still very much happened.
Yeah.
Do you have any other
and
notes?
DeSalle, not really note, but something with DeSalle was so like DeSalle was moved to like, yeah, DeSalle wears a red engineering tunic, unlike the gold tunic he wore in the Squire of Gothos and This Side of Paradise. He started out as a navigator in Squire, then served as a science officer in Paradise, and ended up as an engineer here. And like, I guess the intention was to use him as more of a like commanding officer on the bridge when Kirk and Scotty were both on an away mission, but then he never doesn't ever show up again.
Okay. That checks out. Any other notes on this episode, Johnny?
There's a part where he's talking about the cat, Sylvia as the cat, and he's like, familiars. Demons in animal form sent to aid the wizard. I'm like, fucking what? What are you talking about? Like, I'm most familiar. I don't know if
familiar with familiars.
Yeah, familiar with familiars. Did Radagast have were like the animals that Radagast had in Lord of the Rings considered familiars? I don't know. Did Gandalf had anything considered? They just spoke to them. They didn't have animals that were in service to animals.
Of them. I think if anything for Gandalf, it probably would have been Shadowfax, and maybe the eagles. But like, I don't know, the eagles seem to be more friends, whereas like Shadowfax was there alongside of him for, you know, a longer amount of time. But yeah, not really familiars. Radagast was essentially just, you know, uh, animal whisperer.
He was from my understanding, Radagast seems more like a what in D&D would be considered a druid than a wizard. Like because he's much more
He is a
nature
brown
based.
wizard.
But familiars that I'm like more knowledgeable about
with.
are like yeah, I was trying to avoid saying it again. I know that like there one of the classic things is like an imp, and like an imp with like in D&D imps have they're kind of like goblins with wings and a like a scorpion stinger for a tail, and they can be used as familiars by evil wizards. But like in D&D currently, familiars are more like just fey creatures that take the form of an animal. Like in Harry Potter, they all have familiars. Like Harry has the owl, and you know, those are all sort of like similar to they kind of serve the role
similar,
of
but they're
familiar.
not called familiars.
Yeah,
they're just,
but in D&D,
they're just their pets essentially.
Yeah.
And honestly, by the end of the series, everyone kind of forgets about that, except for Hedwig. But like, you know, it's in terms of them all having these pets, it's kind of forgotten about. There's more
like in
important things
D&D,
happening.
you can, if you're playing a wizard who has a familiar, like you can project your senses into your familiar and see through their eyes, and you can cast spells through them.
That's how it is in Sabrina.
Yeah, but just a demon in animal form sent to aid the wizard is
that's different.
They're not. I'm not necessarily all demons. Anyway, tangent time.
Hashtag not all demons. Tangent time.
There was also when they talk about I forget if it was, I think it was what's the male wizard's name?
Korab?
Yeah. I think he like,
is he a wizard? I guess so.
Kind of what they made it seem to be. Yeah.
I guess so, with the wand, but
like he does like he uses the force and brings something to his hand or whatnot, and he says telekinesis, and I'm like, fucking what? I have never in my life heard that word pronounced telekinesis. It's telekinesis.
I totally missed that.
He says telekinesis. And I was like, what the hell? That is the weirdest pronunciation of that word I have ever heard in my life. Telekinesis? No, telekinesis. Reminds me of like Eddie Izzard says like the UK and the US are two countries separated by a common language. You say aluminum, we say aluminium. You say herb, we say herb, because there's a fucking H in it. But yeah, telekinesis.
Very interesting.
I had to chuckle with that.
Maybe they're like from the Midwest or something. Molasses. I don't know. Anyways.
I mean, it might be, it's one of those things that might be a word that I try to stand by. It's still funny. I'm going to say it's still funny.
Yeah.
But I like to stand by the statement of don't make fun of people who mispronunciate words because they may have learned it by reading. Maybe a word that they learned by reading.
Very true.
So maybe the actor had never seen the word before, never heard the word before. Maybe, you know.
Yeah, like, I don't know how common of a word that was at the time.
In the 60s, yeah. Like, how many people are going to use telekinesis on a daily basis? The writer probably knew, but the writer might not have been on set to be like, guys, that's not how you...
Usually now there's some kind of linguist, especially with sci-fi and fantasy shows and movies. You got to get all those words right.
But yeah, that's... it's not... I mean, I'll say it here, it's not really... it's not really something that's in my favorite lines and moments, but Korab mentions the old ones, which you might remember the old ones from What Are Little Girls Made Of? Ruck talks about the old ones.
I was wondering why
it's the
that
same
sounded
writer.
familiar.
It's the same writer, so he like snuck that little reference from the other episode into, and I guess he's mentioned the old ones in his other stuff.
Into the old ones multiverse universe.
Yeah, I did put it. He based this episode on his own short story, but also wrote What Are Little Girls Made Of in both episodes. The old ones figure into the backstories. So that does it for me for general. So time for favorite lines and moments.
Yeah,
which I just realized it's favorite moments and lines on our breakout, and that's it's FML.
Wonderful.
Just now realized that 36 episodes in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many episodes in are we? Yeah, let's see. I'm looking through my notes. I have a lot of that's what they said. Spock says to Kirk, "Very bad poetry, Captain."
Yeah, because Kirk's like, Mr. Spock, comment?
Yeah.
Like, very bad poetry, Captain. A more useful comment, Mr. Spock?
Yeah.
that was funny.
And Bones says he doesn't know about trick or treat. I forget who that was too. I think maybe like telling Kirk about Korab. I don't know.
On Memory Alpha, it says Kirk says if we weren't missing 2 officers and a third one dead, I said someone was playing an elaborate trick or treat on us. Spock says, "Trick or treat, Captain?" And Kirk says, "Yes, Mr. Spock. You'd be a natural."
That's not where I'm talking about. The line that says he doesn't know about trick or treat.
That's not listed on here.
I think. Well, I put down that Bones says it, but I'm guessing it's around there.
I think that might be one of those ones where that's probably Bones' line right before Kirk says, "If we weren't missing 2 officers."
Maybe. And then, of course, we have the line, "I have the power."
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that
by
in there
Korab.
too.
Yep. And I was like, how fitting with Motu Madness right now.
Yeah.
How fitting. And just the whole kissing scene was just hilarious to me. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And honestly, the giant cat coming after them, loved that. It was great. Great entertainment. Like I said, it reminded me of when people will Photoshop cats into Jurassic Park and other movies like that. It was great. I think that's all I have for lines. And yeah,
the only other one I have is DeSalle says something about, "I'll bet credits to Navy beans," and I don't remember what the rest of what he's talking about is.
Yeah,
I was just like, credits to Navy beans? What?
I know. The magical fruit.
Navy beans, though. Navy beans.
I don't know what that means. Blue beans. Blue ball? What? Anyways.
Yeah. That's just a tip pick. You know, if you ever look at the bean section in your local grocer. You said that weird because I wanted to.
Yeah, you did.
Check out the bean aisle at your local grocer. Because there's a lot of beans. There's a lot of types of beans. I was like, one day I'm standing there, I'm like, there's a lot of beans that I've never tried. I should try all the beans. And see which ones are the
Everyone
best.
Comment below what your favorite beans are. Pinto beans, black beans, refried beans, black-eyed pea beans.
It makes me wonder, because like, they're all beans.
Fava beans.
Coffee
kidney
beans?
No.
Cocoa
different.
beans?
Different.
But they're still beans.
Magical fruit. And coffee does
So
make you too.
what other bean could you take and treat like imagine taking like kidney beans and
Mm-hmm.
roasting them and grinding them up and making like a drink out of kidney beans like you do coffee. You
No,
should
thank
try
you.
all the ground and steeped bean drinks.
Well, I mean, they do have like mushroom drinks now. So
Yeah, and
it's possible.
chicory root is supposed to be like a popular alternative to coffee, like
Huh.
ground and brewed
I
chicory
haven't
root.
heard of that. Interesting.
Yeah.
That is a name that
Anyway,
is very hard for me to say. Tangent time.
yeah, apparently it's popular in like New Orleans and Louisiana is like a
Okay.
blend of coffee and chicory root. Yeah.
Cool. The
So,
more you know.
if that is, yeah, I should put the. If that's it for favorite lines and moments, that'll bring us to that's what they said.
All right.
Who's
Um,
going first?
you can go.
All right, this is your that's what they said for what is this? Season 2, episode 6.
Sure.
Catspaw.
Catspaw.
Keep it open.
I'm only picking up physical impulses from the three of them.
It's getting thicker.
You insisted on coming.
Oh, if only this had different terminology. That cat.
I mean, it still works. Um, eat and enjoy yourselves.
How do you know we'd come?
I'll handle it down there. Or down here. I'll handle it down here.
I find it stimulating.
I find I like these new sensations.
How does it feel?
What I want from you is a joining.
You excite me.
Keep it up, Mr. Chekhov.
Come, quickly.
Quickly, Captain.
Don't let her touch the wand, Captain.
Give it to me.
Come with me.
Yay!
This was a good one for this.
Yes, I know I had texted you. I was like, there's a lot for this episode, but honestly, I found I think almost as many. No, not quite for next episode, but there's a lot. There probably could have been some more, but time.
All right. Well, that will bring us to episode trivia from Memory Alpha. So this relates partly back to Chekhov's wig.
Okay.
This was the first episode of season 2 in production.
Okay.
So this was the first one that they shot for season 2, but like the 6th one that they aired.
So hence the wig.
Yeah.
Got it.
It was filmed in early May of 1967. It did not premiere until the week of Halloween 1967. It was, in fact, written in a Halloween-type theme for just that reason.
There you go.
This episode also remains to date the only Star Trek production produced as a holiday special type of episode.
Oh, really? They never did any others?
No.
Huh. I wonder if shows did that before Trek. Probably.
I think so.
Yeah, because now it's very much a thing to do Halloween,
To do holiday
Thanksgiving,
specials, yeah.
Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays, all the holidays.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Theo Marcuse, I think that's how you say it. It's Marcuse.
Mm-hmm.
Marcuse. died in a car accident a month after this episode aired. That was the actor who played Korog.
Really?
Yeah, he was in a car
Oh.
accident and died a month after the episode aired. That was unfortunate because he was good in this episode. I liked him.
Yeah,
I liked his performance.
I liked him too. I liked him a lot. He was good. Yeah. It's so sad.
So this is another one of those. They're talking about production order, not airing order, because I think technically an episode we watched fit this criteria, but it says this is the first episode to feature all 7 of the classic cast members that were brought back for future big screen adventures. Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scott, Uhura, Sulu, and Chekhov, although they do not appear in the same scene together.
Don't they appear? Oh, because Sulu's on the ship.
Chekhov's on the
maybe
ship,
not.
everybody else is on the...
Or no, yes, sorry. Wait, but Sulu's not there. So not Sulu.
Sulu's on the planet.
Oh, yes, duh, yes.
Yeah, Chekhov
Getting
and
confused
Uhura are
with
left
next
on the
episode.
ship. Yeah. Chekhov and Uhura are on the ship. Everybody else is down on the planet.
Yes, that's right.
The ornithoid life forms were marionettes composed of blue fluff, pipe cleaners, crab pincers, and other materials. The marionettes were operated with thick black threads that were clearly visible. Most of this was corrected in the remastered version of this episode. This is so funny. It reminds me of if you've ever seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. It's a fantastic show.
An eagle-eyed viewer might be able to see the wires. A pedant might be able to see the wires. But I think if you're looking at the wires, you're ignoring the story. If you go to a puppet show, you can see the wires. But it's about the puppets. It's not about the string. You go to a Punch and Judy show and you're only watching the wires. You're a freak.
And I think of that. And it's Richard Ayoade in this show. So if you know who that is... really curly hair. He's a British comedian. He was in Neighborhood Watch. Tall, lanky. No? Okay. I'm going to insert the clip into this of him doing that because he does it better than I am. And everybody will know immediately who it is.
Okay.
He was on the IT Crowd, too, if you've ever watched the IT Crowd. Okay.
This makes me sad that I know none of these things.
Well, that's another thing that you one of today's lucky 10,000. You get to see these things for the first time. So that's it for trivia. That will bring us to spoilers without context.
Woot woot.
So I went first.
I'll go
for...
Yeah. I guess I'll go first.
That's what they said. So we will bring Ensign Kayla's spoilers without context up on the screen.
Indeed. Yes, I had to do the 3 hitchhiking ghosts from the Haunted Mansion. From the Haunted Mansion ride.
Grim Grinning Ghosts.
What do you say?
Grim Grinning Ghosts, right? Grim Grinning Ghosts? Isn't that the song?
You know, as much as I love Disney, I don't know it as well.
All right.
Probably. I'm sure someone will let us know.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had to include them because the 3 ghosts at the beginning totally reminded me of them. Or witches, sorry. And then I had to do Salem. We all love Salem. And then I had to do McGonagall because she transforms into a cat. And then with the transmuter wand thing, because it glowed at the end, it reminded me of when you would do Lumos in Harry Potter. So I had to include that. So 2 Harry Potter references. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
So we will bring my spoilers without context up on the screen. And I had to do the 3 witches from Hocus Pocus.
Love.
I had to do the voodoo doll for the little Enterprise that they were holding over the candle flame.
Oh, good.
Because that's essentially what it was. It was voodoo.
Yep.
I had to do... Korog said... All it is Korog said, I have the power. So I just had to do He-Man in the middle of his...
So good. So good.
Transformation. And then the Muppet Martians. I had to do yup, because that's what the fucking orthanoids looked like. Yup.
Yes.
I was like,
I
hey.
I was racking my mind. I'm like, they remind me of something. And then as soon as I saw this, I was like, yep, there it is. There we go. We got it.
All right. So that will bring us to ranking the episode. Ensign Kayla, how would you rank Catspaw? And also, we did discover that it has, because last time you said you wondered if it had anything to do with your dad and the Catspaw thing that you do. It does not.
No, it doesn't. And I knew it probably wouldn't, but still I was like, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I like this episode is entertaining. I love Halloween. I love spoopy time. Love all of that stuff, but like we kind of talked about before, it felt like it wrapped up very conveniently and kind of had a sad ending and was kind of all over the place. Like the giant cat was cool, the weird makeout was funny to watch. Like it had its moments, but overall I don't know how much you need to watch this episode. If you're a Halloween fan, sure, this is a good episode to watch, or if you like cats or pussies, like good episode to watch. But I don't think you have to watch it, so I'm going to give it a lieutenant.
Okay. That is a fair assessment. I'm going to bump it up a little bit and say commander, mostly because it is the first time all 7 of the main. What's the word that I want to use? I don't want to use iconic.
Cast.
There's another word. It essentially means iconic without saying iconic. So it's the first time the iconic primary Star Trek characters were all in the same episode together, even if they weren't in scenes. And words because it's the only holiday special that has ever been
classic, historic, ideal, important, prototypical, representative, seminal, supreme.
No, it's none of those. So maybe it's not. Anyway.
Archetypal, exemplary.
No.
Traditional. Okay. Well, anyways.
No, I don't know what the word is.
You need synonyms for iconic. You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. I'll figure it out when we do the when we're in the live chat. I'll probably be like, it was this word.
Same.
Just so yeah, I'm giving it commander mostly because it's the first time those 7 were together in the same episode, and because it's the only holiday special that has ever been produced for Star Trek. So our next episode, if you think this episode was wild, the next episode is Mud. Harry Mudd returns with a plot to take over the Enterprise by stranding the crew on a planet populated by androids under his command.
Crazy.
So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And we knew Mudd would return, so I was very excited for this episode, and oh boy, is it a doozy. It is a doozy. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. It has been a blast talking about this episode. If you haven't already, make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon, please and thank you. Thanks for everyone who is here in the live chat, or if you're watching on the replay, we appreciate it. If you want to leave a comment, that'd be awesome. We love interacting with everyone. We love talking about Trek, obviously. If you want to follow us on any of our social medias, it's at GTFO channel. Mostly just post on Instagram though. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching all our Motu madness. If you missed any of that, we talked about Revelation, we talked about Revolution. We got to interview Ted Biaselli and Nate Barch, and that was absolutely amazing. So if you haven't watched that, go watch it. It was a lot of fun. We had Brick and Sorceress come on to co-host for that as well. And yeah, we did an unboxing of Eternia that kind of went viral. So if you missed that, go watch that too. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Until then, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.